Welcome back to Infinite Auburn, and today I want to talk to you about what we saw from Auburn against LSU that makes me think we have a chance to beat Georgia on Saturday. First reason is our tight end play. On Saturday versus LSU, John Shanker had an amazing 102 yards receiving. And if this is something that we can duplicate on Saturday versus Georgia, Auburn is going to have a very good chance at running up the yardage, possibly running up the score on Georgia, which could help us get to a victory by the end of that game. One negative we did see is that Shanker did have a few dropped passes. I'm hoping we can get that cleaned up before we play Georgia. But the most important part is the fact that he was catching some great passes. He had a long play of about 35 yards, and he was able to get over 100 yards receiving. We need to see a repeat of that this Saturday versus Georgia. The next reason we have a good chance to beat Georgia on Saturday is the fact that our rushing game has virtually been unstoppable. We have had some moments where it struggled, but the main thing is that Bo Nix is running again. This is a strength he's had in the past. He has been more reserved with his run game in the first 3 or 4 games of the season, but when we played LSU, he turned it up. He was pulling the ball, he was running it, he was making plays happen, and for Bo Nix to be successful, that's what we need to see. But the main point of that is that our rushing game has been on point. On Saturday, Bo Nix had 74 yards on 12 carries versus LSU. Jarquez Hunter had 65 yards on 6 carries. And if we can get that running game up, we're going to do very well versus Georgia. This is a concern only because Georgia's rush defense has been so good so far this season. The question is, can our offensive line do enough to open up the run game? Or more importantly, I should say, can our passing game do enough to open up the run game for Auburn? Because if we can get off some quick passes to keep Georgia accountable, it's going to open up everything for Jarquez Hunter and Tank Bigsby and Shivers and even Bo Nix. And that's just going to help us out all day long, all game long. And if we don't do it, if we can't open up the passing game, expect a repeat of what we saw against Georgia State in the first half. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think we will find a way to open it up, and we will see Hunter run up his yardage. We will see Bo scramble, hopefully making good decisions while he does it, and our running game should be a problem for Georgia. Another reason we have a chance to win against Georgia has to do with some of the decision-making we saw from coaches on Saturday, and specifically I'm talking about the decision-making around our quarterbacks. So there were a lot of people who were expecting TJ to start versus LSU, including myself, and I gave you my reasons for why I thought that should happen. A version of what I expected to happen did happen on Saturday, and that was creating basically a character arc for Bo Nix where he has a shot at redemption. And so the way it actually played out was Bo went in. He did not do that well. TJ Finley got a shot at playing. He didn't do that great, and so Bo was able to come back in and get a chance at redeeming himself, and he absolutely did that. He turned into what everybody's calling backyard Bo, and he made plays happen. And if Bo Nix is able to do that on busted plays, we're going to do great. The problem is if Georgia's defense is good enough to chase down Bo, he's not going to be able to make that happen. That's not something you see at the NFL level hardly ever. And it can work in college sometimes, but it's not a game plan. You can't have the game plan be, all right, guys, run out, and I'll try to scramble and get open and toss you the ball. It'll work sometimes, but it can't be your go-to game plan. Unfortunately, what we saw against LSU is that it worked multiple times for Bo Nix, so I do expect to see some of that from him against Georgia. The real question is, what's his game plan going to be for Bo Nix, because he will be the starter, And how is he going to put him in situations for him to be successful? We know that Bo does struggle with passing. I think even though he did make some huge plays, the struggles were still there. So what are we going to do as a team to put Bo in the best situation to make some good plays, whether that's with his arm or his legs? And I'm not sure. The main point of everything I just said is that if something wasn't working, if Bo Nix wasn't working, they put in TJ Finley. If TJ Finley wasn't working, they put in Bo Nix. That is not something we would have seen in the past, and I was very happy to see that they're not just going to leave someone in just because they thought they were the guy. They're going to do what they have to win the game, whether that is putting Bo Nix back in at LSU or whether it's pulling him versus Georgia State and giving TJ the chance to win the game. I've been very happy with those particular decisions that have been made. The final reason I think we have a good chance to win against Georgia really revolves around our defense, and we just made some great plays on defense overall. Yes, we made some mistakes. That happens, and but it wasn't the story of the game for our defense overall. The biggest plays I can think of, I mean, we had some sacks, tackles for loss. And then, obviously, the biggest play was that interception at the end of the game to just seal it and let us know we had one for sure. Zakoby McClain, I'm going to go back to this. I've talked about it multiple times. But our linebackers are the key to us winning on defense. Zakoby McClain is the biggest key for us. So as long as he is in the game and he is healthy, we will do well on defense. And I'm honestly hoping that Owen Pappoe is back in because he has been missed, and it would be fantastic if he was back in versus Georgia and we had both of those linebackers. I think we'll just be completely solid because what we have found out when both of those guys were out, we are not as deep at linebacker as we thought we were, at least not yet. Since I told you the reasons I think we do have a good chance of winning, I will also throw in a couple of things that I hope we eliminate or get rid of for this game versus Georgia, because if we see a lot of this, we will struggle. And so these are the things I think we need to get rid of or clean up. One is our special teams. We usually don't struggle on the special team side of the ball, but we missed kicks. I think we were, let me pull this up. I think we were 1 for 3. So Anders Carlson did make a 49-yard field goal, which is great, but he missed 2 other field goals. Luckily, he was 3 for 3 on extra points, but missing 2 field goals really affected us, and it could have affected the outcome of the game if we're not careful. So that was something that we don't want to see that versus Georgia. The other thing that just blew my mind and I did not understand with special teams is why on earth, when we were that close at halftime, would you come out in the second half and start the game with an onside kick in the second half? That made no sense to me. Sure, it would have been great if it worked, but I didn't understand the decision-making with doing that. That just seemed like a very Gus kind of play, and I don't want to see calls like that unless it's needed to get us back into the game. And that just wasn't necessary. So that kind of stuff, we've got to cut that out. The last thing I hope we can kind of clean up, and I know it's short notice because we just got rid of our wide receivers coach after the Georgia State game, but we've got to clean up the dropped passes. We still, against LSU, had way too many drop passes. If we get these opportunities versus Georgia, I think they have the number 1 pass defense right now. And if we get opportunities to catch the ball, our guys have got to catch it, pull it in, and run the ball. We cannot blow these kind of just easy plays because a lot of it was just sort of pitch and catch kind of stuff. And it hits them right in the hands or right where it should, and it's just dropped. We can't see those kind of mistakes happen against a team like Georgia, or we will not win. But I've given you all the reasons why I think Auburn has a good chance at winning. I've mentioned a few concerns I have, and I'm interested to hear what you think. What are going to be the keys to victory for Auburn? What do they have to do? And then at the same time, what are some things Auburn has to avoid? Please let me know down in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video. I can't wait to see this game on Saturday. If you like this kind of content and you like this channel, please subscribe and leave a like on the video. And you know what? If you could share it somewhere as well, that would be fantastic. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.